Hey everybody, thank you for joining me on It's Got to Be Real with me, your host, I am Mike. I just want to thank you guys for tuning in, and I want to thank you for checking out all the other videos that we have up. Today I'm coming to you from Promised Land Pentecostal Church, which is in Nutton, New Jersey. If you had that opportunity to come check us out, please do. We really love to see you, and we really love to share the Word of God with you. Today, we're coming with another segment. We had a Bible study about this, and we felt there was something that needs to be out there, and people need to understand it. And it's coming about commitment to Christ, which we're ultimately all brought to, and we all have to make that decision whether or not we're going to be committed to Him. And one of the questions that we had out there was, why is it so hard for people to make that choice to commit to God? And you know what? It's awesome to ask that, because you know what? I often think of this myself. For me to study this, I went into John, the 6th chapter. I read the whole thing. I'm going to challenge you to go do that. There's many pivotal points in that chapter which show you who Christ is and the reason why in the end of the chapter that the disciples that are actually true to Him make that choice and make that decision. So today we're coming about commitment. We're going to talk a little bit about it. And please, like I always tell you, go back and study the whole 6th chapter. I'm not going to read the whole thing to you. I want you to check it out. Today when I do read to you, it's going to be coming from the King James Version of the Bible. Today's episode is entitled Commitment to Excellence. And why is it called that? It's because we are committed to Christ, who is excellent, who is perfect, who is great in all things. And that's where we're coming from. Now, before we read this, I want to give you a little bit of background of what happens in the 6th chapter. You have many awesome things, like I said, there's many pivotal points that come before. You have Jesus walking on water. You have Jesus healing the sick in the beginning. You also have Him being called a prophet, people not understanding who He is. And then most importantly, one of the greatest things that He did besides all that is feed the 5,000. And that's pretty much where we're coming from after this part of the 6th chapter. Now, what we have here is people start to hear about Christ, they hear about His fame. They seen it, I believe it's in the first few verses, that He healed all the sick. So much so that after He healed them, He wanted to try to just get away, just free Himself and just, go on the other side and just have a little alone time. But it didn't happen because all the people just found out about His power and about the power that God had given Him. They just wanted to go find out and see, who is this man Jesus? Who is He? So what happens is that they follow Him, and then pretty much He starts to continue to heal them, and then looks up one day and He sees that there's 5,000 people there who are hungry and need something. Now, you have to look at how Christ looks at this. He looks at 5,000 hungry souls, not only for food, but for the Word of God. And so now you're at the place where there's a child with 5 loaves of bread and he has fishes, and the disciples before this, they seen all these things that Jesus did. He walked on water out to them, and they were scared, and a huge storm came, and then they seen Christ walk on water. See, now you would think after these individuals saw Christ do these healings and do all these awesome things, that their faith would be so much so that when this child came up, that they seen, oh, here's a child with 5 loaves of bread. You can do miraculous things with this. They saw Him walk on water. They saw Him heal people. They saw Him break these evil spirits in people's lives. Now this child comes up, their faith should have been, you know what, God, you can do this, you can do this. But you have to realize that they didn't really grasp that concept of God. Yes, they saw the great things that He did, but they really still did not grasp. Now, the next thing we come to is now where Christ, after everyone's filled with their food, they're filled with natural food, He wants to fill them with the Word of God. So we're here in this place, and we're going to be coming from John, the 6th chapter, and we're coming from 51 on down, where He's talking to the individuals who He just fed. He's talking to the individuals who are still searching for God because they hear these great things. Now, what we see is that Jesus is speaking, He's teaching something, and what happens is that He's telling them, look, God set me down, I'm going to be the ultimate sacrifice for you. Now, in order for you to take part of this, you have to take part in me. You have to be committed to me. You have to accept me. You have to accept me for more than just the man that you see in front of you. You have to accept me for the man that was sent down to die for you. Now, what happens is that you hear that there's some disciples that murmured in Himself. These people did not understand who God was. They didn't understand. It wasn't illuminated to them yet. They only saw Him as some man who was a prophet. They say that early in the 6th chapter, oh, this must be some prophet. They didn't really realize who God was. And what happens is that them not understanding who God was, they can't understand the words that He's speaking. They're looking at His words in a carnal mindset. They can only accept it for something that it's being said. They only see the spoken word, but they don't understand the spoken word. And what happens is that he begins to tell them, okay, this is who I am. My flesh and my blood are going to be given up for you. I'm going to die on the cross for you, but I'm going to be rose again. I'm going to come in glory, and I'm going to send my Spirit down, the Comforter, for you, the Spirit of God. Now, you have the disciples that were there, besides the 12, who even Jesus begins to speak about later on. It says, did I not choose you, even one who is of the devil, who's going to betray me, talking about Judas. He lets them know, look, there's these other, we don't know how many there are, they don't name how many there are, but these individuals were the ones that also saw Christ do these miraculous things. A disciple is someone who is taught and is willing to learn of God. And they don't have commitment. And I want you to go back and look up what commitment means. It's actually loyalty and duty to a person or something. So in that commitment, they didn't have commitment to God in them. They just saw, they wanted to be with Jesus because they saw him doing great things. So many times it happens where people see the great things that God's manifesting in your life, and they want to come at you and they want to see what it is. But once they find out the truth, that question comes up, does the truth offend you? Now, in 1 John, I believe it's in the 4th chapter, it speaks about if a spirit is of God, it accepts truth and accepts correction, and it actually grows by that correction. It doesn't say that verbatim, but that's pretty much what it's saying. That once someone, if they have the Spirit of God, or the Spirit of God is dealing with that individual, they are actually able to accept the word that God speaks to them, and they're not offended by it. But they accept it and they use it to grow into greater understanding of God. Now, I'm only touching on small little points today. This is probably going to be a 3 or 4 segment of this commitment to excellence. So we're just touching base. This is just the groundwork. I believe it's very important that I want you to go back and read this for yourself. So when we come back and we talk about it, you understand where I'm coming from and you understand what is being said to you. I just pray that God illuminates this to you and that you're not like these other disciples, that you're ready to learn and you're ready to accept the spoken word of God. God bless you. Please come check us out. Come to Nutley, New Jersey. We're right here for you. And if you can't come to Nutley, New Jersey, check us out on njplpc.com. God bless you.